when people have talked about, like, why aren't they doing this and that with Cam, my thought has always been, and I don't think we've talked about it, is, well, number one, that I don't think a lot of people have really watched Cam previously in his career. They don't really know what kind of quarterback he is, and they think he's going to run like Lamar Jackson. Well, no, he's more like a power back than anything else. And really, in Carolina, his MVP year, and I did a big story on this for Sports Illustrated from I think it was from Super Bowl week that year. Carolina was really successful and ahead of their time, and I think teams have, since, like with everything else, learned how to deal with it. Is that they found a way to use Cam more in a power run game, like a traditional power run game that was dressed up with the quarterback and bells and whistles and things like that. But really, I mean, like, the Cam run around left end where he almost scored, where Illuminor made a really nice play helping Ryan Izzo out. Because when I saw the play, I was like, oh, geez, Ryan Izzo's going to have to block Joey Bosa here. Like, how's that going to work? And luckily, Illuminor pulled off his path and said, I'm going to help out my boy over here because there's no way he's going to hold up against Bosa. And that made that a successful play. But that sort of that's a counter run where he fakes one way, and then all of a sudden you got a pulling guard, or in that circumstance, you have a pulling tackle. You have Sony Michel as a lead blocker who probably peeled off a little bit early. Those are the type of runs that Cam's really been good at in his career. That's the way, the Panthers in 2015 with Mike Shula as coordinator, they used to run like, the Dolphins power sweep. They used to run the counter tray, the Packers power sweep. They used to do all this stuff. And maybe teams have answers for it now, but really that's the way Cam is best. That's the way to best use him as a running back. I think McDaniels is getting more of his sweet spot as far as that. And, look, there's no question. And we'll get into this now with our next topic, but there's no question the running game has to be a priority for the Patriots from here on out. We've talked about it all year, but I think Sunday, like you said, was another example of that.
All right, so let's get into the Cam game. Your thoughts? I mean, you send notes before every podcast, and this is the note that you sent about Cam. He was awful in the second half.
Yeah. At halftime, I was somewhat enthused. I thought, I had him for 6+ plays, 3 down plays. One of his plus plays included a throw to Jacoby Myers that was dropped. There was a run. There was 2 touchdowns. He had a good throw against pressure at one point to Bird, and he did a nice job with his scramble, feeling pressure, something we've talked about that he hasn't been good at in the past.
Yep.
As far as his negatives in the first half, he had the fumbled snap, which was his fault. There was a throw to James White where he was high on the screen. And then there was a decision that there was one throw where I forget who it was, but somebody was wide open because the Chargers ran into each other on defense. And I want to say it was Myers, was wide open in the middle of the field, and Cam didn't throw the ball. So that was the first half. The second half, and I think McDaniels wanted to test him a little bit more. They just didn't want to sit on the 28-0 lead. And I had him for 5 negative plays, 0+ plays in the second half. And it was just throw after throw. Throw to Jacoby Myers in the end zone high. The decision to throw to, this was the play where he decided. It was the play where he threw the ball to Jakob Johnson and nearly got Johnson decapitated in the left flat. Jacoby Myers was wide open in the middle of the field because the guy covering him was down. There was a low throw to Jacoby Myers that I think went for 13 yards, but it was still low. A high throw to Jacoby Myers. The deep underthrow to Jacoby Myers down the right sideline. So it wasn't good. And it got worse as the game went on. I'm starting now to believe that possibly there is some sort of injury thing. And I don't know if that's the abdomen or if it's shoulder, but Nick, look, I'm just going to tell you flat out, it wasn't much better in this game than it was last week. Outside of the running, you take away the running, and we're talking about him just as a passer, I don't think it was much better. And look, I understand. the formula with Cam for him to be successful, for this offense to be successful, is never going to be just Cam as a thrower. So part of the equation, when people say, oh, well, he sucks as a thrower, he can't throw. Yeah, but what does he do with his feet? He has to balance out. This isn't Alex Smith sitting in the pocket where there's really no running game.
Yeah.
So that's part of the equation. But just as a thrower, he was not good in this game. He just wasn't. And the concern is, what do the Patriots do in a tight spot? Because there is no margin for error anymore. I think they have to win out with what's going on in the playoff race. What happens if the Patriots are down 2 scores in the second half? And right now, I think that Jarrett Stidham's a legitimate option. Certainly Cam is still the starter, but the Patriots can't afford to wait much longer, and it's not getting better throwing the football for Cam.